to everyone. I know it's a 10 a.m. morning on meeting on a Friday morning, but with that said, I'm thankful that everyone has had the time to and taking out the time to participate in our 2022 virtual retreat. Even though that because of COVID, we would have been in person, but we want to continue on keeping it safe, right? So with that said, I want to thank you all for your time, your commitment, and your dedication to the Human Relations Commission. Of course, I haven't saw none of you all in person, with the exception probably Commissioner Wiggins. But with that said, I'm grateful that everyone is still doing well, and we are still moving forward with the work of the HRC. I want to thank the staff as well for accommodating us this morning, as well, Mr. Larry Bell, and of course, Director Ms. Wanda of Allen Abraham. So I do want to get some housekeeping rules real quick because we're going to be virtual. Let's remember to mute ourselves so there won't be any back noise in your audio as well. Of course, if you want to say anything, you can unmute yourself. You all know how to do that as well. I think we've all been on Zoom for 2 years now, so we know the rules with that. And then the second thing is that also, if you can, please be on screen. I know from 10 a.m. to 3:30 is a long time to be on screen, on camera as well, but at the same time, we are going live, so we want to make sure that we're present and we are available as well. And so we do have a lunch scheduled at 12:15 to 1. Of course, it's not catered, so it's lunch on our own. So we'll be able to rest our eyes then around that time. We do have a semi-lengthy agenda, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward with our items as they're listed on the itinerary, and we are going to follow the itinerary schedule as well. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Ms. Wanda Allen Abraham so she can defer with the rest of our agenda this morning. Thank you all again. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Chairperson Leek, and good morning, Human Relations Commission, and good morning, Human Relations DEI staff. It is awesome to see everyone, and as Chairperson Leek said, we typically would be in person, and we would probably be gathering and munching on a few goodies while we meet. The intention, of course, of the retreat is for everyone to convene in a less structured, less formal environment. But of course, right now, in the days that we are experiencing, it's a challenge to be able to do that, hence this virtual format. Of course, we still encourage commissioners to be participatory, make sure you're sharing your thoughts. The whole purpose is to receive your feedback so that we can review our strategic plan to make sure we're on point and we're moving forward in the way in which the commission intended. And also this year, even though this is not a year for you to redo or update your strategic action plan, it is necessary for you all to take a closer look than you typically would, because we've had the additions of 3 divisions. And so with DEI, NDO, and the LAC, we definitely need to take a look at incorporating all of that work into the overall Human Relations Commission's strategic action plan. And all of you should have a copy of, you should have a copy of the original one for the years 2021 through 2023, because you did work on that last summer during your retreat. But of course, we have taken the liberty of updating that strategic action plan for you to incorporate those areas that I just mentioned. And so really today, it would really be great and helpful for the staff if you all would be willing to review the amended strategic action plan, which incorporated those new areas, and then we can move forward accordingly. So that is part of the overview for today, is the strategic action planning. And you will note that that planning is divided up into 2 different slots on the agenda. The first part is in the morning and the second part is in the afternoon, with the intention being more of a discussion, review type of approach in the morning. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, when we reconvene, you would offer feedback in terms of any changes or anything else that you would like to see in the plan. So that's kind of an overview for that part. Also, we will hear from the Historic Resources Commission. You'll see that on the updated agenda as well. And that will be during your planning session this morning. And the reason they're in that part is because they will be bringing some information to you for your consideration. So again, remember, the morning part of the planning session is for you to review, think about, and discuss any potential changes or additions that we may need to make in the strategic planning for the HRC. So they will be taking up maybe about 15 or 20 minutes of that session to be able to talk with you and to entertain any questions commissioners may have. And if you look at the afternoon agenda, is pretty self-explanatory. After the planning session, you will have updates from the city attorney's office and also from the North Carolina Human Relations Commission. So that is pretty much what your retreat is looking like today. And again, the whole point is to be able to, if you need to interrupt and ask a question, you can do that. It's a little different than your normal structured meetings. And so you can be more conversational and a little less formal with your comments and your questions. And so any questions at this point from any of the commissioners before we proceed to introductions? Any questions? Okay, awesome. And just one note, I know that Vice Chair Melissa Thompson mentioned that she will be joining us a little bit later this morning. I think something came up, and so she does plan to join, but she'll join a little later this morning. And Commissioner Michelle Preble is unable to join. She thought that she would be able to, but she cannot join the today's retreat. So just wanted to share that information with you. Just received those messages right as the meeting was beginning. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to kick off introductions, and then I will toss to someone. And if everyone can just continue tossing to someone and for introductions until we're finished, we'll be able to get through that part. So again, my name is Wanda Allen Abraha. I am the director of the Human Relations, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department. I've been with the city of Winston-Salem now for 21 years. And I'm really excited to see the growth of the department and the evolution of the commission and the scope of all that the department and commission do on behalf of the community in Winston-Salem. And so, as you know, we talked about the divisions, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But again, excited to be here and to serve you all. All right, I am going to toss to our chair, even though you've heard from him. I would like to invite him to introduce himself officially. Chair Lee?
Yeah. Yes, good morning. My name is Robert Lee III, and I'm the chairperson for the Human Relations Commission. And I have a 1 and 4 month daughter, Legacy. So she's getting big. And I'm also employed with Power Up North Carolina with the North Carolina Conservation Voters Foundation. And I'm also a local pastor here in the Winston-Salem area. And I would pass it to Commissioner Wiggins.
Good morning, everyone. It is great to be with you all and see everyone. Sunny, good morning. Good to see you. My name is Carrie Wiggins. I serve with Pastor Leak at the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters as the Boards and Commission Program Manager. I have enjoyed my time serving on the commission, being able to create opportunities and spaces for the staff as well as the community that we serve at large. And so it's great to be here this morning to continue to plan how we move forward and advance the community. So thank you, and I will toss it to Sunny.
Hi, Commissioner Wiggins. Good morning, and good morning to you all. My name is Sunny Haynes. I have been on the commission since 2013. I believe I got some pandemic years that allowed me to prolong my service. So I'm happy to be with you all and to have seen the commission grow and thrive over the years. In my day job, I'm an attorney at Womble Bond Dickinson in Winston-Salem, and I look forward to working with you all today. I will pass it to, who's next on my screen? Commissioner Price, good morning.
Good morning, Sunny. Good morning, all. I am Josh Price. I've been on the commission for, I think, 4 years, we're gonna say. I've been in Winston-Salem for about 27 years, and I work for Wells Fargo. I've been with them for about 10 years. So I've been commissioner here for a bit. I co-chaired the NDO subcommittee, which we'll be, I'm sure, referencing some today. But yeah, I'm excited to be here and excited to see all of you. So I will pass over to Commissioner Taylor.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm being okay. I do have my vocals on. Good morning again. My name is Fred Taylor. I work for the North Carolina Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Here, I'm a mental health counselor, and I'm just happy to be part of this commission and looking forward to a great meeting today. I'll pass it to, I have, is it Eleanor? Eleanor. Hi, Eleanor.
Yes. Hi. Hi, I have been working in the Human Relations Department since last December, so not super long. I am one of the new people hired to administer the NDOs. Primarily, I am an investigator, but I've also been helping with outreach and such. And before I worked for the city, I went to Wake Forest Law. Yay, Demon Deacons. I will pass to Jashanta.
Of course, you pass it to me. I'm Eleanor's twin. I also deal primarily with the NDOs, investigating and doing outreach. I have been a part of this department for just shy of 8 months, and I really have enjoyed my time and working with my coworkers, my boss, and you all, the commission. So thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to the day. Thank you. I'm going to pass it to Jamie.
Thank you. I am Jamie Waldeck Cranville, and I am happy to see your all smiling faces today. I'm the Senior Outreach, Senior Human Relations Outreach Analyst, and yeah, looking forward to the day and happy to be here. Thank you.
Who do you toss to, Jamie?
I got ahead of myself to mute. I will pass it to Adolfo.
Thank you, Jamie. My name is Adolfo Brasino, and I'm a fair housing investigator and also mediator in the department. And I've been for the city working 11 years, going on 12. And thank you very much all for being here. And I'm going to pass it to Iris.
Good morning, everyone. I am Adolfo's twin as well. I am a mediator and investigator, and I have been with the department going on 3 years, and I look forward to today. And thank you. Oh, I will pass it to Carlin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carlin Duncan. I'm the Senior Administrative Assistant as well as the intake person for our department. And I'm happy to be here. I will pass it on to Brittany.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I believe I'm the last staff person that is present. My name is Brittany Pitts. You all have met me before, seen me before. I am the Equity Assurance Administrator for our lovely department. I serve on the DEI division. As the Equity Assurance Administrator, I am working closely with our city departments on departmental consultations and building equity plans, and just being serving as a resource and being there to to offer recommendations of best practices of how to implement DEI initiatives within our organization. I'm happy to see each of you. And at this time, I am going to pass it back to our director, Wanda.
Wow, that was smooth, Brittany. She slid that right on over to me. That was great. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I appreciate all of the wonderful introductions, and hopefully everyone has a feel for each other a little bit more, even though we're not in person. I know that's a challenge, but thank you so much for that. And so we're going to just continue to go down the agenda, and we next will move on to the Fair Housing and Landlord Tenant, Fair Housing, Landlord Tenant, and Outreach part of the Human Relations updates. First of all, Chair Leak, I was remiss. I should have really tossed back to you in case you had anything to add.
I don't.
Okay, are you fine with proceeding?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. And so we'll toss on over to the Human Relations Division. Adolfo, Iris, and Jamie.
Thank you, boss. And commissioners, we have I have a few numbers for you to start our day. We finished this fiscal year with 500. I'll tell you the number right now.
Adolfo, I'm going to jump in and say that you're reviewing the numbers for last fiscal year that ended on June 30th, correct?
On June 30th, yes. Thank you, boss. So we finished that year with 577 calls total. This was a little bit lower than I was expecting. A typical year for us has some 600, between 600 and 650 calls. So 577 was a bit shy of that number. I checked last year's numbers that ended in June 2021, and we had 726 calls. And the year prior, in June 2020, we had 644. So the last 2 years we have been normal in 644 in 2020, 726 in 2021, which is above what we normally do, and now back down to 577. But it's more or less around anywhere between 600 and around 600, 650, little bit above, little bit below, is a normal year for us. Now, I also want to share with you the number of eviction cases that we have had in this year. So since May 2020, we have had 100. So I'm sorry, out of 753 calls, in general, we have had 167 calls regarding eviction or ejectment. That is 22% of our numbers. In July 2022, so this July, out of 69 calls that we received in July, 20 were related to evictions, which comes to a 28%. It is interesting how that number, I've been working with this number, and every month, for some reason, the number is about 25% of all the calls we receive, which is also very, very interesting. It's such a constant number, and I don't know why is that. Now, I also want you to know that I checked the numbers for evictions in July 2021, which is a year ago. So a year ago, we had a total of 58 calls, and 8 of them were about eviction and ejectment, which is 13% of the call. I was asking myself, why is this number so low? But I think it is because probably in July 2021, we were still coming out of that moratorium. Remember, there was a moratorium on evictions. That moratorium on evictions started around June, July 2020 and extended all the way. And I remember those moratoriums were not really a ban on evictions. It was applied in such a way that only those people that didn't pay the rent because of COVID-19, only those were covered by that eviction. But at some point, remember, the courts were either not working at all, or they dismissed altogether any eviction case. So there were several months. If we can go back to the numbers, and I'm sorry, I would have to go. The new system that we have is very cumbersome in that sense. I cannot get the numbers easily. I have to go like click one by one. But anyway, if we go to those numbers, we probably will see that some months there were 0 evictions whatsoever. So what I'm trying to say is that I think we're going back to usual, back to business, back to normal. Because for several months now, probably all this year, that number of evictions is always around 25% of all the calls that we receive. And we are in an eviction diversion network. I don't know if any of you are in that eviction diversion network, but we're trying to see what can be done about that. And I think those numbers, if you hear the people from the Forsyth Courthouse, every month, 750, 800 eviction filings every month. So I think we are already business as usual with this issue. In last year also, the fiscal year that is, we had 13 housing discrimination complaints. Only 8, we investigated 8 of them. The rest of them 5, even though they came in and had interest, did not follow through. So in the end, we investigated only 8. And the previous year, that number was 11. And that's my report. Thank you very much. If there's a question, please ask. And now I'm going to pass the microphone to Iris.
Hi, everyone.
Well,
I have a question.
I do too. Well, go ahead, Commissioner Wiggins.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Lee. So, Adolfo, I was listening to the numbers and just processing and still listening to individuals in the community, especially those individuals that property owners that are leasing or renting their properties to residents. And there still is a staggering number, and I know the numbers may not reflect in the data that you just shared, but there's still a staggering number of individuals in our community that is still struggling to pay their rent. And I don't know, what is attributing to that, to those numbers still being on the increase and individuals still struggling to pay their rent, and people are still being evicted. There's eviction notices are still going out daily, and I don't know, I just think that stuns me to see that we're still there, and then look at the numbers that you're reflecting. So there are members in our community that are still needing assistance, and I'm not sure that they don't know what assistance is out there, why there's still this gap and need. I don't know, just seems like there's a miss, there's a gap somewhere, there's a miss somewhere.
Yes, it is unfortunate that we are still dealing with this, and it's a big number. I think 25% of all our calls. I mean, it's really it is interesting. Now, I have said before that I think I don't know what we can do about this issue, right? But I always believe that ERA program was a lifeline for a lot of people, and it's a shame that I hope the legislature, whoever was handing out that money will make it permanent. because, I mean, it was terribly, terribly helpful to have that. I mean, sometimes people will fall behind 3-4 months, and all those people that the program helped would have been sure evictions, and the program prevented that from happening. Unfortunately, we know that the program will stop giving funds in June 15 this year, so about 2 months ago. And if they don't replenish those funds, and it was about $5 million that they had for that purpose, you're going to see business as usual. And business as usual is 1,500 evictions a month in the city of Winston-Salem. It's staggering, the number. I mean, it's 15,000 people a year. I mean, it's just incredible. But I think that is beyond us unless that fund is there, because from what I have seen, there is a steady number of people that fall in this eviction all the time. And putting that money there would, I think, significantly lower that number, especially now that rents are increasing. Is incredible. I mean, I had a person, I think 2 weeks ago, listen to this. He had been living in an apartment. It was a small building with only 8 units. He had been paying Hispanic. He was Hispanic. I was talking to him completely in Spanish. He had been paying for about 10 years, $350 a month. Him and his family there were 5, all of them. A new landlord bought the place. They start renovating, and he wants one. And they tell him, yes, sir, no problem. Yes, you can have that at $900. Overnight, his rent went from $350 a month, $900. Of course, if he wants to take the bill. That is the things that we're seeing on the ground here. So there are no easy fixes to that.
Yeah, and the weathers are going to transition on us here shortly, and then we still find ourselves, in this situation where more individuals may find themselves needing support. Thank you, Adolfo, for making your report and for addressing my concern.
I was going to say just real quick that I am part of the Eviction Diversion Committee, and it really we just thought when we actually formed it that we were just going to be focused on just with the pandemic, the current state, but because it is now more of a citywide reoccurrence that's continue on occurring throughout our city. With that said, though, I do concur with Commissioner Wiggins. The thing is that one thing that I am scared about is that because most of the individuals who receive the ERAP assistance, they are probably up at their just probably is the month that they probably going to exhaust the funds. And so what's going to happen to the tenants after all of the funds are exhausted, to the ones that are already in the queue now from that DSS has already stated that they are working on as we speak. So that is my concern, that there are individuals who did apply for the ERAP assistance program, and they did receive that service maybe 1 or 2 times. But with that said, what's going to happen, after the funds are just exhausted? And because we are at that point now, that DSS has stated that they've already closed the portal, and there will no longer be any funds that will be available. And so that is a concern to me, because I know individuals today who are, and we talked about this and spoke about it as well at our eviction diversion meeting. The individuals now, they are just accepting properties, knowing that they can't afford the properties, but they just to be able to have a roof over their head. And I'm talking about individuals that maybe have a household income of $1,500 a month, but they are accepting the properties of $900 a month. So we are living in some critical times, and I guess I never would have thought that we will be experiencing this in Winston-Salem, but this is all across the country. And so I do hope that there may be some more funds available for families. But one thing about it is that I wish there was a way that there was a cap that landlords and property owners could not increase rent. That's the issue right there. That's the issue, is that landlords are continuing increasing rent. So and people cannot afford the rent in these houses. And I think I
have a quick
And
statement. Go ahead. I do have a quick
Commissioner
statement.
Taylor, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I do have again, I have a mental health caseload as a VR counselor, and I do have an individual right now who has experienced a eviction. And this was, I don't know all the dynamics as to why he got evicted, but it seems to me in the story that I was given that the sheriff department was really fast in kicking him out and taking all his belongings and putting them on the street. And it seems as though he had no recourse. My suggestion, recommendation to him was to make sure that his rent was paid up, and if it wasn't, see if he can kind of reconcile with the property owner and talk to the sheriff department about what recourse did he have in actually getting his place back. But this individual right now is currently living on the street, and he has employment. That's part of my job, to see that he does have employment, and he do have a mental health disability. So I guess my question is what sort of time frame is law enforcement given to contact these individuals ahead of time to let them know that they are being evicted, and what recourse do an individual like that have? And one last thing, when I send him over to ESR, he's being put through so much red tape. I wish there was a way to kind of minimize some of that red tape, because like I said, this individual is working and he's receiving Social Security benefits. So there is monies coming in, so to speak. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. And I would just like to say, again, to follow up on a comment that Chair Leak made, we do have what is called the Eviction Diversion Network. And Chair Leak has been the representative from the Human Relations Commission attending those meetings. And we were meeting every 2 weeks, and we became a part of the National League of Cities Landlord Engagement Lab. And so there is a national group that is working with municipalities on best practices and ways to mitigate evictions in their local communities. And so we're plugged into them as of this summer. And it was actually a part of a competitive process to even be able to get into that network, that national network. So we were really happy that when we applied, we were one of the cities selected. But before that, we already had our eviction diversion network. And as a part of the network, one of the goals is to make sure that we are communicating with other agencies and organizations about any matters relating to evictions and the need for eviction diversion and those types of circumstances like the one that you just described to us. And we are working collaboratively with agencies like Family Services, DSS, Legal Aid, the city, the county, United Way. It's just a lot of different organizations that come together, the Housing Authority, to work on this problem. And so one of the things that we identified was that we really could use a right to counsel program here in Forsyth County. And what that means, the right to counsel, is intended to allow, or to enable, I should say, people who are facing evictions, especially those who are low to moderate income, to have a legal recourse, to be able to have an attorney to consult with and potentially represent them to avert or divert that eviction. And so we have that now. And we were really happy to establish that as a result of funding through the ARPA program, you know, the federal funds that have been available to local governments. And so legal aid is our partner in that. And they now have an attorney who is being funded by the funds I just referenced to work with people on eviction diversion. And so that is a new recourse that is available. And if people refer any individuals to our department, then we can either see if we can help them, or if not, if it's something that is more urgent and more legalistic in terms of court and all of that, then we of course will send them to legal aid, or we'll contact legal aid rather to follow up with them. But that is something I just wanted to make everyone aware of, so that when you're hearing these stories in the community, of course, you all are the community. You are volunteers from the community on this advisory board called the Human Relations Commission, and you're our eyes and ears. And a big part of what the Human Relations Commission is charged with is advising our department, advising us on matters, issues, problems that are out there in the community that we may need to be aware of and can possibly address. And if we can address it, most likely we know who can. So just feel free to always consider us a resource, send them our way. And if you want to follow up with us before you refer people, you can contact us as commissioners. You can contact the staff, because Carlin is our intake analyst, and she will take the information, we document it, we have a system for that, and then she will assign that case to Adolfo or Iris. That's how it works. And then they will investigate or mediate if we can. So I just wanted you all to know that, because yeah, ESR is one of the agencies out there who are working with us as well. But we just want to let you know we have a whole network already established. And so that should hopefully help. But this was a problem long before the pandemic. We were one of the top metropolitan areas in the nation for evictions. So this has always been a problem here. And the pandemic, quite frankly, exacerbated the problem, but it did not create the problem. And so we were meeting and we were discussing eviction diversion probably a year before the pandemic hit. We had created this network, but it has grown and it has gotten, it's strengthened since the pandemic. So I just wanted to share that. And Iris is our contact for this Landlord Engagement Lab through the National League of Cities. She's our point person. She's working with community development, which is a department in city government, to coordinate with them as we move forward in working with them in this national framework. So if there are no questions, I can go ahead and toss to Iris, because it segues into probably what she was planning to share with you anyway. So any questions? Because we need to move on. And so Iris, the floor is yours.
Adolfo, you have a question?
I don't, but I was going to try to answer Commissioner Taylor's answers. I don't know how much the sheriff department gives them. I think it's about a week, Commissioner. Once they receive that letter, I think they have a week to vacate. And once they get to that point, this is a lawyer, a question, what is the recourse? I have been told that you could potentially file an injunction to try to prevent the eviction from happening, but it requires a legal solution when they are in that point. I hope it helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Adolfo. I went off on my tangent talking about the big picture, but thank you for getting down to the details. Thank you.
Okay, I was going to give the numbers for July, our statistical numbers for July. For landlord and tenant, we've had 69 inquiries received through the phone, emails, other departments. We've also have, well, the landlord and tenant mediation, we're mediating 9 cases at this point in time, we've closed 8. And we've received voicemails, emails, and like I said, that's through council members, emails, other department heads, and referrals. We've referred 11 tenants to legal aid. We've referred 2 to HAWS, 13 to neighborhood services, and 1 to HUD. And for our housing discrimination, we have had 1 inquiry. We filed 1 complaint. And we don't have any cases closed at this time because we're just starting. And for the month, again, that was 69 for our phone calls. And that is all. But that's all I have to say. I'm gonna pass it over to Jamie. I think she's next.
Iris, explain to me, and maybe others have this question as well. What does it mean when you defer to neighborhood service? Is that community development?
When we can't help them, say that they have already, they're in the process of going to court, we can't help them. So we will refer them to legal aid, or at the time when we were, when they have the ERAP funds, we refer them to DSS because we don't do that. So that's what I mean by referrals.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
No, what I'm asking is, what does neighborhood service do?
Yeah, neighborhood services I'm sorry, Iris. It used to be, it is community development now.
Correct.
The system has not changed after all those name changes. It still appears as neighborhood services, but the department is community development. And when it appears there is because a city inspector, we refer them, so a city inspector visits that unit.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. So basically, if the tenant has an issue with mold or issue with something with the dwelling, of course, you all don't provide expertise in that. You all would defer to neighborhood service. Okay. Last thing. So how will we know how will we know if that case has been accomplished though when it's deferred to neighborhood service? Is it immediately out you all's hands after you all it is okay.
Yeah, we do not follow up what happened with the case, and we just refer them to community development, and that's the last of our involvement in there. We are really not keeping track of what happened with those cases that we referred.
But I can say that we do have some tenants that do call us back to let us know what's going on, if the inspector has come out or something like that.
Right, because community development, it becomes their responsibility to document what's going on, and they do. And so they then take over in terms of documenting the case, and they have all types of reports and things that they complete to follow up on those cases. And so there's nothing for us to be able to track once we refer it out, because it doesn't fall within our authority. It doesn't fall within our scope, because they enforce the housing code, whereas we enforce the Fair Housing Code. So housing code meaning, things like structural issues and all that kind of stuff. Anything that's wrong like that falls with them. And of course, we are fair housing, and then of course, landlord tenant. Jamie, I think you're up.
All right. So looking back on this past fiscal year, we would like to thank all the commissioners that were able to help us virtually. We did most of our events, we held them virtually, and we did have a lot of participation. So we appreciate that. We did start to see back in-person events. So we want to thank the commissioners that helped us at Pride Festival and Juneteenth. We were proud sponsors to both of those events, and we were happy. We were sad they were on the same day, but we were grateful that we were able to cover them both because we have a larger staff, and the commission helped as well. So thank you all so much for that. Before we go over some of the events, I do want to announce that we did complete a second year of our HUD partnership grant for outreach initiatives. We have bus ads all over the city. We had a specialized social media campaign for fair housing that was in April and July. And we also had Spanish focused ads that were in Que Pasa and Mia Magazine. So this was our second year with those funds going to the to bus ads and social media and Spanish print media. So we were excited about that, and we hope to receive those again. So to focus on some of our upcoming events, I am going to share, I made like a little cheat sheet here so you can look at it and get the dates written down. So coming up, we do have September 10th will be Fiesta. Many of you have volunteered for Fiesta in the past. We are still gathering all that information about the table and what the times for that will be, but we'll get that out to you as soon as possible. We will continue this year to have the high school race relations forum virtually. Just until life goes really back to normal, we want to go ahead and just go ahead and do that virtually. It seemed to be as successful that way as it was in person. And we actually are able to see that a lot of people are watching that through YouTube. So it's great to have it that way. International Village Food and Music Festival is going to be October 15th this year. So it's a month delayed. And we are excited about that weekend, hoping that it'll be a little bit cooler. And then it looks as though we're not competing against any big events, which we've definitely had in the past. That will be the weekend after all of the fair shuts down. So it'll be going on for 2 weeks. And then this is the weekend after that. We will kick it off at 11 o'clock with a naturalization ceremony, which we've done in the past as well. And then the actual festival will be from 12 to 5. So it's a little bit shorter. And we are hoping with time change and difference, this time frame will be really nice to do it from 12 to 5, 11 to 5, counting the naturalization ceremony. As always, we really encourage commissioners to come and help man the HRC, Human Relations Department, DEI. I get all those titles. I'm messing them up. I apologize. So we do encourage you all to come and help us man that booth. And if you want to help with volunteers or help somewhere else during the event, please let us know. We would love to have all the help. If you have family members that want to come and help and volunteer, they're welcome to as well. A new event that we have coming up is a citizenship fair with Southeast Asian Coalition, and Eleanor has been the instrumental partner in getting this set up. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and let Eleanor speak for a minute to tell you all a little bit more about that.
This is an organization out of Charlotte that I worked with in law school as a volunteer. What they do is they contact local attorneys and get them to volunteer their time. And then they get a bunch of law students to come out and help too. And people who are permanent residents can come, and the law students will help them fill out their N-400s, which is the application for citizenship, which can be pretty challenging if you don't know a lot of legalese. And then once they have their paperwork filled out, then they go to the attorney for review, see if there are any red flags, stuff like that. So I thought that this International Village Festival was what I was first thinking of, and I contacted them about that. And they said, well, we really need to have our own thing that's not confusing, but they're going to come out and advertise the fair at the festival and be there to answer like real basic questions. So they'll have a presence there, and then the next month we'll have the fair and hopefully help some people become citizens.
Great. Thank you so much, Eleanor, for your work with that and to bringing it to our attention as an option. In addition, we do not have our big pipeline scheduled yet. We are meeting with them next week. So we'll see if they want to continue virtually or how we want to continue with those big pipeline sessions. And then in 2023, just to kind of looking ahead, January 17th looks like that should be the city council meeting where we will present our Young Dreamer Awards. We will be looking for those nominations though coming up soon, starting in November, which saying November is soon is crazy, but it feels like it'll be next week. The Student Human Relations Awards will be in February. We will keep you all posted on how we will do that. We all certainly hope that we can continue, we can go back to being in person, but we also really want to be safe for all the families out there. And then our Fair Housing Summit again will reconvene again in April. So those are some of the things we have coming up and then things to look forward to in 2023. Are there any questions about any of our events or anything right now that you'd like to ask about? All right. So the last thing, and I'm going to introduce it and then let Wanda tell you all a little bit more, but as we wrap up the Fair Housing and HUD portion of today, we do have training funds similar to our partnership funds. They give us training funds. And Wanda wanted to share with you all some upcoming things because we have funds that we need to spend by the end of September. So I have that also on this document, and I can send this document to you also. You'll have everything all in one place with the dates and everything. But there are 3 events that are coming up in September, and I'm going to pass that on to Wanda. And thank you all again for all of your support with our outreach. And I look forward to seeing you all in person soon.
Thank you, Jamie. And I'm glad that this is on screen, commissioners, because we do want to make you aware of these potential opportunities for you all to attend these meetings. As you see, the first one listed is the new Hanover County DEI Conference, and that is coming up quite soon on September 8th through the 9th. We do have a member of staff attending that. Brittany will be representing the staff there and attending this conference, and commissioners can also attend, and we can send you through our HUD grant funding to be able to attend this conference, since there is a tie-in with what we do as human relations in general. And so please let us know if you're interested in attending that conference. New Hanover County just created a new office of DEI, and so they are the ones who are leading and hosting. So that's the first one. The second one, that's actually out of order, so I did that, so sorry. But anyway, going down to the Association for Conflict Resolution National Conference. The basis of this conference is to convene those who either mediate or are interested in mediating or being mediators. And it's a very good conference. Usually Adolfo and I attend every year. Not sure if Iris has ever attended, especially since COVID has been going on, but it is an excellent conference each and every time. And so this year it will be in Champions Gate, Florida. And so if any commissioners, particularly those on the hearing board, if you're interested in attending the mediation conference, please let us know. And then lastly, the North Carolina Human Relations Commission meeting is in Greenville. Now, because it starts so early on September the 27th, they have made information available about a hotel that would be available for commissioners to stay at if they want to attend. And I think I've already shared the flyer with the commission. But again, if you're interested in attending that, let us know. And we can give you additional details about that one or any of the others. So thank you, Jamie. And commissioners, did you have any questions about any of those training opportunities?
Are we presenting at the Association of Conflict Resolution Conference this year?
Not this time. Not this time. And yes, and Commissioner Haynes, this is the same conference that you and I presented at with Chief Katrina Thompson. we did that presentation on Trust Talks a few years ago. This is that conference, but anyway, yeah.
It's a great conference.
We're not presenting this time. Sorry.
I still encourage anyone to attend if you can. It is a great conference.
Thank you. Any questions? But again, just let us know. Think about it, please. Look at your dates. I know everyone works, so if you're able to get that time off and you'd like to go, just let me know. Thank you.
I think it's exciting that the department provides training opportunities to enhance the quality of service that we can offer to the community in growing ourselves professionally. So it is great to see that we have those opportunities to attend those trainings. So thank you again for Wanda for having those funds and for making them available to us.
You are more than welcome, Commissioner Wiggins. And Chair Leak, that concludes that division update. And I know we bled over into the next division updates, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, we certainly did. I think we have DEI up next.
Correct, we do this, Miss Brittany.
Yes, good morning again. Give me just a moment. I'm going to share my annual report with you all. Okay, can everyone see it? Just want to make sure. Okay, so this is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Division, our annual report for fiscal year 2021 through 2022. Just wanted to share it on the screen with you all so you have something to view as we go along to speak about or highlight some of the updates that our division have accomplished this past fiscal year. So of course, the goal of our division is to produce DEI excellence by embedding equity and inclusion throughout the city of Winston-Salem. There are various definitions of diversity, equity, and inclusion. In addition, there's another word that has been starting to use more frequently as well, and that is belonging. And so our division is just striving to encourage cultural sensitivity as we implement different DEI initiatives and strategies and reviewing existing policies, programs, or what have you that may perpetuate systemic inequities. So on this page here, you'll see the DEI team. Of course, we have our lovely director, as well as myself serving as the Equity Assurance Administrator. We currently do have some vacancies, so our Equity and Inclusion Coordinator, as well as our DEI Administrative Assistants. And hopefully soon, we will also receive an assistant director to come on board, assist DEI and our department overall. So right now, I am holding down DEI for us. Here is just a director statement, and I believe we may be able to share this report with you all as well so that you can view at your own time and leisure. We also have a snapshot of our departmental inclusion plan and the different goals that DEI would like to accomplish over the past fiscal year and the things that we have actually accomplished as well. So I'm just gonna scroll past that. Okay, so protected classes of persons. So our division currently we're hosting cultural competency trainings. Those are monthly trainings that are tailored to protected classes of persons, such as race, gender, identity, ethnicity, etc. And so later on throughout the report, I will go over the trainings that we have conducted and allow you to see the ones that we have planned for the next few months as well. But just wanted to highlight that this is consistent with our city personnel resolutions as well as our handbook on being an equal employment opportunity employer, in addition to respecting diversity in the workplace. We have a lovely equity calendar that our former staff member, Maya Ramirez, made for us. And this just highlights some historically marginalized holidays and brings awareness to different groups or cultures. And so we have this available on our website. We have it in our department as well for the month of August, we have some days that are coming up. August 22nd, World Senior Citizens Day. August 23rd, Black Women's Equal Pay Day. And so that's just bringing awareness about the gap in pay with African-American women and white men. And it's just highlighting some dates as we continue to incorporate a more diverse and inclusive environment within the city of Winston-Salem. So this is our equity calendar, and we'll update this calendar on a yearly basis and provide that to employees. Next, Alliance on Race and Equity. The city of Winston-Salem has been a member with GARE for 2 years now. We just renewed our membership back in December, so we're good to go for another year. So one of the things that I really like about GARE is that they provide a lot of resources and tools that are tailored to advancing racial equity within local government. And so it's this large network where you're able to speak to and network with different individuals from different municipalities and jurisdictions from all over. And so it's just they serve as a great resource. They also have resources such as equity action planning, which is something that the city is striving for this fiscal year, with departments creating their equity plan, and further the city in its entirety as a whole creating an equity action plan for the city of Winston-Salem. So they offer a guidebook that details, the steps and how to implement it, and just things that you can go off of if you need that help and assistance. They also have a guidebook for our equity core team, letting us know, how to direct and implement an equity core team, and what are the goals and the initiatives that they should be responsible for as well. And so GARE certainly, it serves as a great resource. They have monthly meetings, weekly meetings, and anything that we may need that's tailored to race and equity. They are there to serve as a resource for us. And so we do have an ongoing membership with GARE. Any questions thus far? All righty, moving right along to the NLC, National League of Cities. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of them. We are also partnering with the NLC to identify and address different strategies that are going to eliminate, systemic and structural inequity. And so here we have their guiding principles. I really do love the principles that the organization go by, such as inclusive and being focused, relationship driven. It's all about relationships and fostering inclusivity within the workplace, within local government, having a sense of belonging, so that employees will, be able to present their best self. And so we have partnered with them. We actually just had our first meeting with them, our initial kickoff last week. And so they're going to be working with our equity core team. They're going to be giving us some trainings and workshops tailored to race and equity. So we are very, very excited to see the work to come and the support that we will have from them moving forward. So we're very, very excited and working with them over the course of the next year. LEP is actually almost time for LEP season again. So LEP is our limited English proficiency. And so LEP are persons, they are individuals who do not speak English as a primary language, or they may have the limited ability to read, write, or speak or understand English. And so our department conducted an audit last year when I was brought on. And so it was back in October 2021. And so we just wanted to make sure that the city of Winston-Salem departments are providing meaningful access to programs and services to LEP persons. And so here we have bulleted the best practices of ways that you can make sure that you are following this law. It is a federal law, Civil Rights Act of 1964. And so we do have internally incentivized a list of Spanish-speaking employees that departments can reach out to if they're needing assistance. CityLink also provides you can contact CityLink, and they have on-demand interpretations. We requested that departments basically send us a plan, let us know, what they have planned if they ever come in contact with an employee or someone from the outside, a customer who we're offering our services to. If they do not speak English, do you have materials available in another language that are readily available? Do you have, things posted on your websites that our customers will be able to, go into the website and see things in a different language that will be able to fit their needs? And so we did, as you can see, a snapshot of the flyers that we received that were in another language. And again, we will be revisiting this coming up soon, because I believe we wanted to do it annually. I'll check in with Wanda to make sure, but we just want to make sure that we're staying on top of being able to provide meaningful access to those LEP persons. Okay, so our 2022 Employee Equity Survey, our department, with the help of the Equity Core team, created and launched this survey on February 11th of 2022, and we closed the survey on March 11th. We received about 374 total entries out of 2,300 records. I believe that may be just shy of 20%, it may be 18%, but that was the response rate. The survey was completely anonymous. Employees were able to go in and answer the questions and also offer responses to open-ended questions as well. And so there was a total of 5 questions, very short survey. We wanted to keep it clear and concise. We asked them to rate the following statements as it relates to DEI within the organization. And you can just see just the scale. So such as this statement that says promotional opportunities and vacancies are made available in a fair and inclusive manner. And we see that a lot more people, they disagree with that statement versus the ones who agree. And so that's just highlighting, how they feel based on the responses that we received from the just shy of 20% of employees who completed it, how they're scaling the different statements that relate to DEI. Another question we had, which I really love this chart, is what DEI concerns that you have. And so we often hear, people talk. And so we often hear that the city of Winston-Salem has a retention problem with employee retention, or we can't keep millennials, or people are leaving due to pay, et cetera, et cetera. And so we actually have some raw data that says, well, employees feel that, their concern is employee retention. Their next concern is professional development. I've also heard myself that there are not a lot of professional development opportunities available. And so we have it here that, 120 employees who completed the survey selected that, professional development is a DEI concern that they share. And so additionally, hiring practices and pay inequities are like the top 4 concerns on this chart. And these are things that we have heard before, but we have it actually, we have the data to say that 20% of employees, they do feel this way. And so again, it was 5 questions. We have posted an overview onto our webpage on the City of Winston-Salem, on the Human Relations DEI website. We do not include the responses to the open-ended questions because due to personnel privacy concerns. However, we do just have a general overview and a summary of the questions. And then the top 3 most shared concerns were employee retention, promotion/hiring practices, and then pay inequity/professional development. So I did want to add that the full report, unredacted with the responses from the employees, because we received a lot of feedback to the open-ended questions. They are with, the correct departments that they should be with. So such as the city manager's office, city attorney's office, our human resources department, those offices and the legal team, they do have access to the information. They have the full report. So they are looking over that and seeing ways to address it and address those equity concerns that presented itself moving forward. Did anyone have any questions about the survey? before we move forward. And again, the overview is located on our website.
Hey, Bridget, what is community engagement on the survey that in the top 4? What is that?
So for the 34 employees for community engagement, I think it's just that what it says, engaging amongst the community. So I guess they feel as if that's a concern that they have. I don't know if they're saying they don't have the opportunity to engage amongst the community, if it's just more internal based, or if they are a community facing department. I don't know exactly how it was relayed to the employee, to the individual themselves as they were selecting that DEI concern. They may feel that the city of Winston-Salem in general could do more community engagement, activities. It could be that they are aware of the opportunities that we have, that our office has with the community as well. So I can't really pinpoint exactly the individualized perception of the question, but those would be some of the examples that I could think of.
Okay, thank you.
And Brittany, I think that too, in all likelihood, you touched on it in one of the possibilities that you mentioned, is that it was probably more of a perception of whether or not the city of Winston-Salem or how the city of Winston-Salem is doing in terms of community engagement through a DEI lens. Like in terms of reaching out to people of the various 17 protected classes of persons, whether we're talking about national origin or race and that type of thing.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving right along to our interdepartmental consultations. And so our department is offering support and consultations by way of training, in addition to equity action planning. And so listed here are public assembly facilities and fairgrounds, as well as the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities Department, and lastly, the fire department. And so for the start of this new fiscal year, we actually have some more departments under our belt, which is very, very exciting to see that department directors are striving to, instill equity within the workplace within their department. So just to highlight some other departments, we're working with CityLink right now. We're going to be working with the Department of Transportation as well. And of course, the ones that are listed on the screen, we are still consistently working with them to just ensure equity within the workplace and just apply an equity lens to any procedures or programs that they may have. I know that the public fairgrounds facilities and Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, they're actually in the process of drafting their equity action plan. So they will probably more than likely be the first department to have an equity action plan. And so that is just very, very exciting. And Wanda and I both, we're meeting with those departments. They are contacting us. We actually have a newly established consulting process that consists of different phases. I think it's like phases 1 through 6. The first phase, we will just have a listening session to gauge and test the temperature and see what exactly the departments are needing, finding out exactly where they are as it relates to DEI within their department and what are some things that they would like to accomplish. And then we will follow up with them to just learn about the expectations they may have of us and just to confirm the different things that they are needing. So it may be, an issue may be engagement amongst employees within their department. They feel as if their employees are not engaged or do not feel included. It could be, with fairgrounds, we may need a way to track rental applications to make sure that we are renting our facility to a diverse group of people, or making sure that the concerts and the events that we're throwing that we are anticipating to have at our facilities are dedicated to a diverse group of people as well. So it is very, very exciting to see that the departments are reaching out to us, the department heads and the directors are reaching out to us to make sure that, just to gauge our support. And we want to make sure that we stress to them that it's not something that we're just doing for them or telling them what to do, but we are working as a partner collaboratively with them to come up with these goals and different things that they can implement within their department. So they're very exciting for that, and also for this upcoming fiscal year. Okay, so we have our equity core team. I know you've heard us speak a lot about the equity core team. Our former staff member, Shane Taylor, was working with them diligently for the past few months or so. And so again, this is a primary leadership team. They're responsible for designing, coordinating, and organizing racial equity plans and activities across the internal structure of the city of Winston-Salem. Basically, what that means is we have representatives from each city department. I believe we have about 30 representatives currently, because there are a few vacancies. So we have representatives from each city department that are coming together. We are meeting monthly. We actually have a meeting next Friday morning at 9:30. All of the meetings have been virtual. However, we did have an end of the year luncheon back in June, and we were able to meet in person. And so to have that final meeting of the fiscal year, so that was exciting to put a face with the name and just, bond amongst everyone together. And so again, they serve as DEI champions. So they are coming together and meeting and offering recommendations and support, bringing updates from their department, taking away updates from our department to communicate with theirs. And so it has been very exciting getting to know them and working with them as well. Again, Shane did a lot with the equity core team members, and then I'll be picking up where he left off until we find someone to fulfill his that role. But again, we're just happy to have them. We're happy to have them committed to implementing DEI. Here is the current list as of July 1st of our current department representatives. We have a more updated list on our website. It is completely updated. We'll just have to update this report. But as of July 1st, here are the employee representatives per department and our current members that we have on the equity core team. And again, I mentioned earlier that the NLC will be greatly working with the equity core team over the course of the next few months, offering them training tailored to racial equity. Okay, so our cultural competency training is something that I'm also very, very excited for. Our department offers these introductory trainings. So they are 1-hour sessions and they are hosted monthly. Shane Taylor, during his time here, he was able to complete a lot of these trainings, such as religion, ethnicity, sex, race, etc. And then we had our lovely NDO staff just, jump right on board and was able to do a training on mental disabilities for July. And then we also have a training coming up within the next 5 days or so, and that one is going to be on age discrimination. So these trainings are offered to all city employees. They can sign up and they can click all of the trainings they want to attend for the remainder of the year, or they can go to the link monthly and just choose the trainings that they would like to attend. But we give them an overall basic definition of the protected class of person. We include the laws that may pertain to that protected class, whether it's ordinances that the city of Winston-Salem have, or whether it is federal laws. We offer some supplemental resources as well. And we're just we have a goal of creating a more equitable workplace and better serve us internally. So I work on the diversity, equity, and inclusion team. However, there have been a lot that I have learned from participating in these trainings and attending these trainings as well. So I look forward to these trainings and our future trainings that we have scheduled for the next year. August 2023.
Brittany, what has the participation rate been so far among city employees?
I think the average for the signups has been between 50, like maybe 50, 55 has been the average for the signups. But as far as participating, I think on monthly, the average has been about 40 to 45 participants. So I think that's great. I would hope to reach more employees in the future to come and attend these trainings. I know sometimes the city manager does send it out as well. I know that when it came out from the city manager's office, there was kind of an influx in the signups for people who want to attend. But we do have the average is about 50 to 60 who are registering. And then on the day of, we have an average of about 40 to 45 participants.
Thank you.
And again, these sessions are an hour long. They are at 2 p.m. on the fourth Wednesday of every month. And they serve as an introductory training. Yes.
Yes, I want to say thank you so much, Ms. Pitts, for putting this together. This is very helpful. Can we obtain a copy of this?
Yes, I'm sure that will be fine. We can send that over to you.
Okay, all right. And the next thing I want to say is that I have to say it. That I know that there was a situation that was going on with the fire department, but with that said, I'm grateful that you all was able to provide some trainings to that department. I'm trying to use my words choicely in a way, but with that, am I okay, Ms. Wanda?
Well, what we're doing is we're still working with the fire department and the others that Brittany mentioned. So we are still in that process, and we're consulting, and we're going through our phased process that she mentioned. And so it's the other departments as well, utilities and fairgrounds, DOT, the others that she mentioned too, CityLink. So they're all going through a process. We haven't trained them per se because they're still in the process of developing their departmental equity plans.
Yeah, gotcha. What I particularly want to just lift that up because I know for a fact, and I know some of the other commissioners as well have saw that in the news as well, the newspaper as well. So kudos to you, Ms. Pitts, for presenting this information to us as well. And like Commissioner Hayes, I was curious as well in regards to the involvement on the staff level from the city. So it does look like that we are getting a lot of, some participation from the staff in different departments. So that's good to know. And then also I saw something in regards to the retention with city employees. I from working from the outside, not internally, but externally, I've heard that those same conversations as well in regards to the city cannot obtain some stability for their employees, but particularly with millennials and as well now Generation X. And so I was just curious, what have the conversations been about that? Is it more that higher pay in different cities or different states, or is it lesser opportunities? Or maybe you cannot speak on that. I don't know, but maybe confidential. I don't know.
Well, HR is aware, Chair Leak, of the retention issues, and actually the city of Winston-Salem's retention issues are pretty much in sync with retention issues across the nation in municipal government and government as a whole. But of course, it's not just a public sector thing, it's also a private sector issue. So people are moving around and job hopping, so to speak, more than ever. And that's been cited in various magazines and other sources. So it's just a national phenomenon. And so certainly municipal government is not immune to that, to being subjected to that. And so HR is aware because it really is an issue for human resources. And so I do know that they are actively looking at and making suggestions about ways in which the city could consider attracting a larger talent pool and retaining them. But of course, our interest is making sure that the talent pool is diverse and that the ways in which they're considering are equitable and inclusive. And so we try to make sure that we are a resource and that we're partners with departments like Human Resources or any other department when they are thinking about ways in which to do business, especially in that respect with employees and on any level. And so, yeah, it's just a problem that is going on everywhere. And so, you know, sadly, we're no different, but we are trying to consider things to recommend that may be attractive to city employees. And the equity core team is a huge part of that because, of course, they are city employees representing all the departments, as Brittany said. And also, I wanted to mention this report. I've already sent the commission the report. It may not be this one because I know that Brittany updated this one, but you do have the DEI annual report. I sent that along with the NDO annual report. It was an email, Chair Leak, that I sent probably a few weeks ago, and it had a different attachments on it. And so I would just say, take a look, go back and see if you can find that. And if not, I can always resend.
Okay, all right. And then my last question is, now, Brittany, when you provide these trainings, does the department or the individuals, do they select what training is best interest to them, or it's like basically the department, your department actually puts the data up and they take the interest of the training that way? So I guess what I'm stating is that if you have a department that states, okay, well, my department needs a training on religion and spirituality, do they have to wait, for example, for April 27, or can you immediately give them some type of training?
So that has not occurred as of yet. However, I believe that we can't, well, I have told employees and departments that if they are in need of any type of consultation as it relates to receiving training per their individualized departments or working on the city equity action plan, departmental equity action plan, they can personally reach out to us and inform us, hey, I think we need some training on gender identity within my department. I think there's some biases that may be in place. We can and will offer that training to them on a departmental individual level.
Okay, got you. And then lastly, I promise my last question. Because I was thinking about Commissioner Wiggins, I have an idea about something for us. But anyways, these trainings are only offered to just the municipality level for the city. You all don't go out externally, do y'all?
So I think that will be more on the NDO side, and I know Eleanor is going to be speaking right after me. So I think that's more external based, and they are providing trainings based on protected classes of persons and discrimination as it relates to employment, et cetera. But I want to leave that with Eleanor. But these trainings right here for DEI that our department is hosting are for our internal employees only.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to chime in, Chair Leak, Eleanor has been actually doing the cultural competency trainings for the past couple of times. And so she has taken that on for DEI for the moment until we fill the vacancy. And so really it's a compliment to what NDO does, because the protected classes of persons are the same for the city of Winston-Salem internally, and also for what we have the NDOs doing with educating the public with the external protected classes of persons with the new NDO ordinances. And so they complement each other. It's just that the NDO focuses external, as Brittany said.
Thank you for your questions. Those are great questions. And so this basically includes the entire report. I'm going to go over to the other tab to just show you some of our attachments. But here we just have that, you know, we are committed to growing professionally. And so I know I myself have attended a lot of workshops tailored to professional development opportunities and a few trainings as well. And so here are just a list of just some things that we have hopped up on or joined virtually to just learn more, to be able to bring back and, you know, do the work that we have to do as it relates to DEI. And so as always, we are one team committed to excellence, and we are striving every day to develop professionally so that we can better serve the employees of our city. And so on this attachment page, we just have a programming/training report of the different activities or the different activities or programmings that we have had in addition to our meetings, and just some numbers about the employees that have been attending these programs. And again, we would have to update this. At the time of the report, it went to February of 2022. However, we can provide an updated version as well. This is we're starting a new fiscal year as of July, so we will be consistently updating as we go on. But I know another chairperson had asked about the count or the average. And so at our cultural competency training in the month of February that was on race, we had about 49 employees who attend that training. And so here are just some numbers. I hope you can see it. Again, this is in the report that Wanda shared with you all with that annual report. And so you'll be able to review this as well. I know in the summer before I joined with the city, we had some sessions, about 3 sessions. We had the Black and White experience, a Latinx experience, and an LGBTQ experience. I think they were partnering with a consultant to provide these trainings and sessions for city employees, and those had a great turnout as well, averaging between 50 or 60 employees for those trainings. And here is a newsletter. This was our first quarter newsletter. So we're actually conducting the newsletters quarterly as of now. That may or may not change in the future. Sorry, I keep adjusting it. However, this was our first quarterly newsletter that we sent out to the entire city of Winston-Salem, introducing our staff. We had some facts about inclusion, and the layout is pretty much similar. It's the same. We have a section for our equity core team. We actually have been highlighting different equity core team members, 2 members at a time in our present newsletters. And then we also inform them of any upcoming workshops or trainings that we may have, and any DEI resources that that employees could use. And so this is sent out to all city employees as a way to just, get ourselves out there, talk about the work that our division does for the city of Winston-Salem. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me speak, so I'm gonna just scroll through these. These are some of an example of our cultural competency trainings that we've had. We always issue a flyer that is sent out to the departments, and that is posted on our city website as well for them to sign up and attend the trainings. It has an overview, the time, QR code so you can sign up, and the link to the form. Back for Veterans Day of last year, this is actually one of my favorite events. We gave donuts out to city departments. They had veteran staff members just to thank them for our service and, just further foster a sense of belonging within the workplace. And so, that basically concludes. Again, this was going back to some of the flyers that we've done, previously, like when I was first starting on in September. And we do have more updated flyers with the things that we have accomplished over the last 6 months. And again, an updated report can be shared with you. And that was all that I had. You all had great questions. If there are additional questions, feel free to let us know or reach out to us at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate it.
Wow, Brittany, that was very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to continue on because Eleanor, sorry, we started running a little long when we were talking about landlord tenant, and that threw everybody else off. So we're ready to segue into NDO if you're ready.
Okay, I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can so we can get some of our time back.
You have until noon. I let the Historic Resources Commission know that we're running a little behind. So you have until noon.
Okay. And then we're going to go through my annual report now. Well, mine and Trishonta's. As you know, being instrumental in getting the NDOs off the ground, they protect people who belong to a protected class and have experienced discrimination based on that protected class, either as an employee or prospective employee or at a place of public accommodation in Winston-Salem. And here are the 17 protected classes. I'm sure you are familiar with them. So these were our goals for the 2022 financial year. Establish a procedure for investigations, which Charlotte was kind enough to let us model off of theirs. So we made a procedure, we made a flow chart, and then going off of that, we made all of the template documentation that we needed to send to people at various levels of the investigation. We wanted to make a system to track the investigations. We were very optimistic about how long that would take. That is still in process because there's an entire program that has to be built from scratch, but that is in process with an external contractor. We partnered with marketing to help raise awareness of the non-discrimination ordinances. Most of what we've done have just been like building the program from the ground and trying to get the word out. We published a web page. It's pretty extensive. I've looked at the web pages of all the other cities that have NDOs, and ours is by far the most comprehensive, so yay. We posted a series about the NDOs on the city's social media. We got NDO information on the city's hold line. If you call and you get put on hold, you'll hear Deshanta's lovely voice telling you about the NDOs. And we made a digital billboard that is broadcast on WSTV 13. Then we have made contact with local advocacy organizations, tried to give them the information so that they could share it with their constituents. We've also done trainings with them or offered trainings to them. We have made flyers and brochures, which we have made available as much as we can. We have them at the booths at our events. We've offered them to the organizations that we work with. They are out in City Hall and then the municipal building. We have looked into paid local advertising. We didn't start that until this current quarter that we're in, so technically the year that we're not covering right now, but just know that that is in process. And yes, Shanta has done those trainings with the advocacy groups. Right now, they're just sort of general NDO trainings, like what is it, who does it cover, et cetera. We did also plan to offer trainings about individual classes, like the ones that Brittany mentioned. Those are available on request, but I don't believe we have received any requests for those at this time. And we'd hope to have community events that educate members on NDOs, but given the COVID situation that has been a bit dicey, we have, of course, been present at the events that Human Relations has been at, like Pride and Juneteenth. It's our calendar for outreach. This is what we accomplished. Mostly it was at being at Pride, being at Juneteenth, doing the trainings that I already mentioned with the groups, and doing a lot of work with the NDO subcommittee, which has now finished. Here's just a screenshot of the web page. Like I said, it's really, really comprehensive, and I will drop a link in the chat so you can look at it if you haven't already seen it. This is what our social media posts look like. We got a lot of feedback on that, a lot of comments, a lot of engagement, not necessarily positive comments, but the word is out there. And of course, the angry people are more likely to talk than the less angry people. So at least people know about it now more than they did. And we just hope that the people who need the information have it. This is the brochure that I made. We also actually have this now in Spanish. We had a great summer intern who was able to do translation for us. We did that just this last July. You can't read this, of course, it's too small, but all the information that's on here is also on the website. It's just a basic overview, and it has our chart that I talked about earlier that goes through our procedure. This is a flyer. We have it in English and Spanish as well. mostly to direct people to the website and give a super basic overview. We hand those out at events. This has the city hold line. What she says is, know your rights. As of January 1st, 2 new laws make it illegal to discriminate against Winston-Salem residents when it comes to employment and at stores, restaurants, hotels, theaters, and other places of public accommodation. The city's Human Relations DEI department is responsible for investigating and mediating complaints. Details, including helpful links, information about exceptions, and an online complaint form are available now at www.cityofws.org/NDO. She says it a lot better than I do. You got to hear it. She sounds professional. It's great. These are the 2 trainings that accomplished in the last year. There's been another training since then in the current fiscal year. I know Drashant has reached out to a lot of different organizations. Unfortunately, they have not been super responsive. And these are the materials. This is the training that Drashanta and I have done, mostly Drashanta, but I have been helping out, as I said. There's the slide she goes through. It's the same information, again, that's on the website. And that is the annual report. It is not nearly as extensive as Brittany's, but we've mostly just been building this program from the ground up, and we haven't gotten as far-reaching, I'm afraid, as DEI, but we are working on it. And here is the link to the webpage. You can also just do cityofws.org/NDO. It's a shorter version that'll take you to the same place. Questions?
And Eleanor, I wanted to jump in and thank you very much. Yes, NDO is a work in progress, as all of the department's divisions are, but it's really important to mention NDO just got started in January. And so with the DEI division, they had somewhat of a head start on you there. And so we just started working on NDO in January. So it's been 8 months. And so for 8 months, I think that we're in a good place. Quite a bit has already been done in just 8 months. And so, of course, we're going to continue forging ahead. And commissioners, our biggest challenge, as Eleanor mentioned, is making sure that we're connecting out in the community. Because, of course, if we are trying to educate the public about their rights when they go into stores and restaurants and hotels, or when they are at work, then that is going to be a unique challenge, because it's not like these businesses or employers are going to necessarily welcome us with open arms when it comes to educating their employees or their customers about their rights. So that's the unique challenge. But what we have worked on, and we're continuing to work on, is a program in which businesses will be incentivized on some level, and employers could be incentivized on some level to have information in their places of business. And so, for instance, talking about public accommodations, for instance, we have discussed the fact that it would be a really good idea for the businesses to be able to display openly some type of, we were thinking whether it's a sticker or something like that in a window or in a really, really public place, that they are NDO compliant, or that they're NDO friendly, or something of that nature. And so that's something Eleanor and I have discussed, and Drashanta, and that's a work in progress, because we think that, of course, like I said, the places of business or the employers may look at that and say, why would I want to do this? You know, what's in it for us, or whatever. So we just have to come up with a unique way of approaching that. And I know that Commissioner Price will recall that that also came up during the NDO study subcommittee meetings when we were talking about it through the LGBTQIA+ lens. We were talking about incentivizing businesses in terms of maybe finding a way for them to be able to display that they are LGBTQIA+ friendly or welcoming or inclusive, that type of thing. And so, so I just wanted to put that out there as well. I also wanted to share that today is Drashanta's last day with us. And so we are going to have a vacancy in the NDO division, and we will be posting that vacancy very soon so that we can go ahead and have some help for Eleanor. But she is going to be taking that on. She's going to be flying solo, just like Brittany is right now in DEI. But we are actively reviewing applications, and we will be reviewing applications over the course of the next 4 weeks or so that we can go ahead and get those vacancies filled. So I was going to ask if Commissioner Price would mind mentioning or talking about exactly what was going on with the NDO study subcommittee. Of course, that's wrapped up, and the fact that there's a report and all of that. Commissioner Price, would you mind just chiming in? Any comments you might want to make about that? Because it does tie in directly with the NDO.
Sure, you dropped the Drashanta thing on me and then you asked me to talk to everyone. So,
I know.
you've done wonderful work, Drashanta. We super appreciate you and we will miss you. I hope you're going on to something awesome. So good. Yes, so anything in particular, Wanda, like I was thinking, and I apologize that I got behind this week with crazy work schedule. But I was thinking that we would be going over kind of the full report during the day today, or is that not the case?
We could probably discuss it during strategic planning. I was just thinking, like, if in Commissioner Vice Chair Thompson is with us now. Good morning, Vice Chair Thompson. And so I didn't know if either of you may have something that you just wanted to say about the study subcommittee, the work that they did, the report, some of the highlights that you may want to mention to the HRC. But yes, you're right. The full report we'll be discussing a little bit later, but just wanted to tie it in with the NDO right now.
Okay, sure, of course. Yeah, that's no problem at all. So we had an NDO subcommittee that was focused on LGBTQIA plus rights and any changes or edits or updates that we wanted to make or recommend to the city council for actual city policy. And that was an 18-month subcommittee that was defined. We did finish our investigation and recommendations a little bit earlier than that. And so we were able to get a report together. And so the subcommittee, I said, well, take that step back. The subcommittee was comprised of Vice Chair Thompson and myself, and then other members of the community who applied to become part of the subcommittee from different areas of the LGBTQIA plus community. And so we had really good, diverse representation and had wonderful discussions and brainstorming and thoughts. We split up into several different focus groups to focus on housing and economic mobility and different community events that we could kind of do, or other things kind of that nature that we'll get into more as we go forward. But then we came back together, put together a report of recommendations that we would like to go to the city council. So the first step will be this committee right here. We'll have to kind of look over it and approve it, and then it'll go forward. And then Eleanor and Drashanta took our recommendations and kind of got them into a very good formal report, formal declaration of what we would like to achieve and accomplish. And that's where we are. So we are at a pause on that committee, potentially done, but potentially needing to go back to update any edits or anything if this committee that we are in right now decides that we need to edit or revise some of our recommendations. So we are looking forward to moving forward and hopefully passing that on to city council sooner rather than later, and then that'll be in the books, which would be fantastic. Melissa, would you like to add anything?
I think you did a great job of summarizing, Josh. And I think the only thing is that we had discussed that this lays a great groundwork for looking into other underserved or minorities as well. So I think that if we choose to go that lane, we have a great template to work from.
I love the idea of having a sticker or a placard that recognizes businesses as being Indio friendly. What maybe a small but free way to incentivize that is maybe to offer some social media recognition to businesses who have committed to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within the city, maybe linked to their social media, and that way they can have a little bit of free publicity around it. So that might be a small incentive.
I love
Very
that,
good.
Commissioner Haynes.
One of the things we came out with a recommendation for is a website or a part of the city's website that would highlight the businesses that were either taking the training or had kind of committed to be friendly, and so we could work those two ideas right in together, right? Have them listed and then link to their social media potentially, from there. So no, it's good brainstorming.
And Eleanor, thank you. This is the report that Commissioner Price referenced a few minutes ago. And while Eleanor is scrolling through the report, I do want to mention that for that idea about incentivizing businesses with a sticker or placard, we are also working on the criteria that would be necessary for businesses to meet in order to be able to display that. And so we're thinking right now that we would require that they complete so many hours of training with us and other things. Maybe they have an equity plan or some kind of EEO related statement, just things like that in their business plans. So we're exploring what that could possibly look like. And so we would welcome the feedback from the commission. You'll hear more from Eleanor as we move forward with that. But you see that right there. Thank you, Eleanor. Where it says welcoming and inclusive. Something like that is what we were talking about for the businesses to be able to display. And so this report is from the NDO Study Subcommittee to the Human Relations Commission. And so we definitely need for the commission to either revise or make changes or go ahead and approve the report, because once the commission has done so, it will move forward to the city council as being something that is recommended and endorsed and approved by the Human Relations Commission. So Eleanor, can you keep scrolling a little bit just to give them an idea? So you will see that they did break it down, as Commissioner Price mentioned, into different areas of focus. And they have individualized commenting and references and recommendations for the Human Relations Commission and the City Council. So outreach and visibility was one of those focus areas, which is a really good thing. But Commissioner Price also, I think, Vice Chair Thompson mentioned that, of course, moving forward, this will be a really good model for any future study subcommittees. And one of the things that when we get into strategic planning that will come up will be which other protected class of persons would the Human Relations Commission like to create for another study subcommittee now that the LGBTQIA+ study subcommittee has completed their report and their research and work. So the idea, I think, came from Commissioner Wiggins, which is that the commission could focus on, an NDO could focus on different protected classes of persons, and the protected classes of persons that have similarities or significant overlap could perhaps be lumped together, so that in that particular study subcommittee, those would be studied just like they were for this, and then recommendations could be shared just like the LGBTQIA+ group did. So we're thinking this will be a good model. Commissioner Wiggins, did you want to speak to that? I know that was your recommendation. So did I get it? Did I capture it?
I think you captured it well, Wanda, and this really will be a great template for us to continue to move forward. I think the subcommittee did a wonderful job, had the opportunity to sit in on some of the sessions and kind of keep up with the work that they were doing. So Commissioner Price and Vice Chair Thompson, thank you so much for your leadership on that. But I would like for us to move forward in looking at another class, protected class, and that would be race. I think that is one that goes back to what Wanda stated when we talked about this, when I first had this idea when we were on a session together as a commission, is looking at race as another protected class and creating a document such as the one that's been presented to us today to help us go forward in looking at how we continue to support the community as a whole. I think the NDO started us off really great. And with the 13 protected classes already presented to us, I think it will be a good transition for us to continue to support and provide training and information to the community. So that would be my recommendation for us as we move forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Wiggins. Thank you. And we've actually segued into the next part of the agenda, Chairperson Leak. I know we, right after this, after the completion of the NDO presentation, we were going to segue into strategic planning. And as a part of strategic planning, we have guests with us today, and they are from the Historic Resources Commission, and they have already joined us. And I see Michelle, who just waved. Hi, Michelle. And so
Heather. Hi.
Hi, Heather. And so we have both of them here, and they have some very exciting and interesting information that they would like to share with the Human Relations Commission if you all don't have any other NDO related questions or concerns. So Chair Leak, if there are no other questions or concerns about NDO, we can move forward if that is your pleasure.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Okay. Can y'all see that? Okay.
You can.
As Wanda mentioned, I am Heather Bratland, and I am joined today with Michelle McCullough, who is the other Historic Resources Officer. We are staff members to the Historic Resources Commission, which is staffed out of our planning office. And we are here today to talk to you about the Historic Marker Program that we have. So before the creation of the Historic Marker Program, the memorial landscape in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County looked like what you see in front of you. We had the Confederate Monument that was located at the county courthouse. We had the Moravian teapot that was representative of the Moravians. The arrowhead is for the Daniel Boone Trail. Of course, the history of Winston wouldn't be complete without recognizing the importance of R.J. Reynolds, who's on the equestrian horse. And then we had state markers, but we really didn't represent the stories of very many people in the city of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County with what we had. So in 2001, the City Council in Winston-Salem approved the establishment of a local historic marker program, and the county joined with the city to support that program in 2015. The first markers were installed in 2002 in the city. And the city currently provides funding for 2 markers annually, and the county provides funding for 1 marker annually. But the county markers are only allowed to be in the unincorporated portions of the county. So that leaves out all of our small towns like Rural Hall, Clemens, Louisville, et cetera. Louisville actually does have its own program, and we are not involved with it. Clemens, as you'll see, we have 2 markers in Clemens. They periodically do install markers, and when they do, they run those applications through us. We've installed 8 markers in Forsyth County, and 59 have been approved for installation in the city. 57 of those are in the ground, and the other 2 will be installed later this year. So our marker committee meets annually to receive and vote on our historic marker applications, which can come from any member of the public. That committee meeting is usually held in November or December. It's in the evening, which makes it easier for our marker applicants. to attend. We have held it virtually the last couple of years because of COVID, but we may go back to doing it in person, but that makes it challenging because if you are not local and you would like to nominate something for a marker, you can't attend the meeting and present. And we do ask all of our applicants to present. The applications are due on October 31st annually, which is why we do the marker committee meeting in November or December. So during that committee meeting, you will listen to, or our committee members listen to presentations from all the applicants and score the applications. And then based on that scoring, they recommend the marker sites to the full Historic Resources Commission, which makes the final awards. But basically they follow the recommendations of the committee. The marker committee reviews the historic marker text, which is drafted by staff, me and Michelle, in consultation with the applicant and what the applicant has suggested for the text in the application. And then attending marker unveiling ceremonies, which is a lot of fun. They're feel-good events. We try to hold them in the spring and fall, so it's not too hot or too cold. So currently, our Historic Marker Committee is made up of 4 members from the commission. 2 of them are white males, 2 are white females, and then we have 1 to 3 members from the community at large. Currently, we have 3. We have 1 Black female, 1 white male, and 1 white female. So you probably noticed as I was reading off those demographics, our marker committee is not very diverse, except for being fairly evenly balanced between men and women. And it's something that our commission has recognized as an issue. So in an attempt to create some additional diversity on the Historic Marker Committee and better represent the population of the city and county, at our retreat in July, the commission decided to invite a member of the Human Relations Commission to hold a seat on our marker committee, and also to invite a member of the African American Heritage Initiative Committee to have a seat on our marker committee, which is why we are here today to talk to you a little bit about what's involved with the marker committee. We are hoping that one of you will be interested in doing this and agree to take a seat on our committee. Just to go very quickly, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but the marker scoring. So we have a set of required criteria in order to even be eligible for a marker. So the site or whatever it is that we're recognizing needs to be at least 50 years old, which is kind of the standard federal test for what's considered historic. It can't be currently marked by another marker or program. The marker has to go in a public right of way because of maintenance issues and having access to it to maintain it. And it needs to be in public view. And then a majority of the committee also has to believe that a marker is the appropriate form of recognition for the site, which it is not always. Sometimes, there's a piece of history that we want to recognize and document, but a marker, which tends to be a little more celebratory, isn't always the best form of recognition. So our highest priority criteria really are attempting to do what the marker program was designed to do, which is recognize underrepresented history and recognize the stories in Winston-Salem that a lot of people are not familiar with. We don't need a marker to recognize, R.J. Reynolds or Old Salem. People are very familiar with those things. So lesser known sites connected to underrepresented history, a site where the building or whatever it is that was significant is no longer there, and a marker is the only way that we can recognize that on the landscape. And then a historic or cultural event that maybe happened at a significant site. These markers that you're seeing and the one for the Colored Baptist Orphanage are our local markers. This is what they look like. So if they're in the county, they have a county seal, and if they're in the city, they have a city seal. Our middle criteria are for sites that are endangered or threatened, an existing building, because then at least in that case, you have the building to represent the history, a historic landscape, or for a person or organization. And then our lowest priority criteria would introduce the marker program into a part of the city or county that doesn't have markers, help the marker identify an area or create a sense of place in a neighborhood, for example, or identify something that has already been preserved, or recognize something that should be preserved, something that's maybe endangered or threatened. And then our last criteria, applications scored in the top 5 for 2 consecutive years, is because our marker applications, particularly in the city, have gotten very competitive. And we have people who will come back year after year and get very close to making the cut, but not quite get there. And so this gives them just a little bit of an extra push. Our commission has recognized that we have some issues with these criteria, and they may not be reflective of the values that we are hoping to support with the marker program. So this is actually something the committee will be meeting probably during October or late September to look at the criteria and adjust them and make some changes to better reflect what we're trying to do with our marker program. So after the marker committee, all the presentations are done. This is an example of the scoring tabulation. So each column here is a different member of the marker committee, and then the scores are totaled. And the way that the recommendations are made, the top 2 point getters are the ones that are recommended for markers in the city. So in this case, it was Loman Pauling and the 5 Royales, and then the connection between Liberia and Salem. And then the other applicants have a choice to keep their application on file until the next set of awards are done. So after the marker is awarded and we've worked through the text, it's ordered, we get ready to install it, then we hold an unveiling ceremony. So these photos are from some unveiling ceremonies that we've done during the time I've been working with the commission. So in the upper left, Safe Bus was there when we did the marker unveiling for Boston Alta Vista, which was right outside Mr. Adams' home, who was one of the founders of Safe Bus. So the city brought the Safe Bus out, which was great. It was a really wonderful event. In the top middle is St. Philip's Moravian Church. Those were 2 that we installed earlier this year, actually. The upper right is the one about the connection between Salem and Liberia. There were actually dignitaries here from Liberia that worked with the Liberian organization of the Piedmont, and they did a parade kind of up the hill to the side of the marker, and there was music and there was African dancing. It was a really wonderful event. The one in the lower right corner was for the Winston-Salem Rescue Squad, which was a story that many of us on that staff the commission and on the commission really didn't know much about because the rescue squad has since been disbanded. But this acknowledged the history. It was the first rescue squad in the state and only the second one in the country. So they had a piece of heavy equipment that used to belong to the rescue squad that came in for the event. The bottom center is one that we did for a farm out near Pofftown. And then the lower left corner is everybody hiding in the shade of a huge magnolia at Loman Pauling's house because it was super hot that day. So everybody was trying to stay out of the shade. So we ask our marker committee members to come to these events to help us host, pass out programs, get people seated, talk to our elected officials, about why the marker program is important, and share that history. So Michelle and I are here today to find out who, if any of you, may be interested in working with us. That's not an answer, we need today. We're happy to answer questions. And of course, if you all decide this is something you're interested in participating in, you'll follow your own procedure for how you decide who that person you'd like to appoint is. But, we hope that you all will take a little time out of your busy schedules to join us. And we're happy to answer questions that you may have about the program.
I just wanted to add, I see that your chairman, Mr. Leek, is there, and he is actually also very familiar with our marker program because he was instrumental in getting a marker put up in the Easton neighborhood. So it's good to see you again, Mr. Leek, because I'm very excited to see that you were chairman. But so you do have an intimate knowledge of our program. And again, we just invite you. I'd like to say I've been here with the city a long time, and this program and this committee, it is my favorite meeting of the year because you will go to these and you will learn things that you're surprised. I'm surprised being here so long. You think, oh yeah, we kind of know everything. We don't know half of anything. And it's great when the community members bring such great stories and history to us, and so that we can share that with the whole community. So, it's typically just one meeting a year. So, again, you're not having to come every week or every month. Sometimes we throw in an extra meeting to make some changes. Again, we like to reevaluate the criteria. We started off with this having no criteria. It was very difficult back in those days selecting them, because it was kind of, it seemed like the committee was picking out of a hat. So having criteria is very important, but making sure it lines up with what the community wants to see is also very important. So the commission recognized that at our last retreat, and we're looking forward to having some membership from your group to help us make some of those decisions too, because you're very involved. I've always appreciated you inviting us to come talk about different issues, and there's other parts of the community we still need to recognize, and this is a great program to do that. So thank you again for letting us come today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michelle and Heather. Thank you for reaching out to me about the possibility of presenting and speaking with the HRC. And so, did they? Okay, somebody, my screen just shifted. I was like, did they leave? Okay, y'all are still here. Good. So, commissioners, how would you like to proceed? What are your thoughts? Would you like to circle back with them at a later date? Do you have things you'd like to go ahead and say or question now? Any thoughts?
Now, don't all speak at once. I know this is that mute button's on. Please just turn that off.
Well, I'm interested, but not to put anyone on the spot. It sounds like you all might particularly benefit from some diverse male leadership on the commission. So males, don't all jump at once.
And Commissioner Haynes, it seemed like one male in particular may already have some involvement or interest based on what was just shared by Michelle. So I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot either, but it may be just a logical thing for that particular male to continue to get a little deeper involved, but I'm just going to leave it there.
And as I said, this is completely up to you, how you all are interested in selecting somebody. So it could be one person this year and somebody different next year. It's not, our marker committee seats are normally 2 years, but for the ex officio seats, it's however you all would want to work it.
I think Commissioner Thompson had a comment.
Well, I hate it. It sounds like somebody is being put on the spot, and I know how busy that person is. So, I love the idea of it too. I would love to be able to, is this a public meeting when you have the presentation? Because I'd love for us to get notice of that, because I'd love to hear that. But I do think based on your current demographics, having someone, a person of color would definitely probably be beneficial.
We will definitely share that meeting with Wanda and her staff, and so they can get that notice out to you.
Thank you.
Well, I guess.
You feeling the pressure?
No, I'm looking at my watch. I guess from what you, Michelle and Heather, what you all were stating, it is true that we do need to have some diversity, which it does make sense because there are so many untold stories in our city that needs to be told in our communities. I will be interested in serving on it as an ex officio for the commission.
Yay! Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Commissioner Haynes, for nominating me, though.
Of course. Wanda, is this something that we need to vote on as far as the procedure, whether it'll be a 2-year term or we'll split it up 1 year among commissioners? Is that something that we need to discuss and vote on?
Yes, Commissioner Haynes.
Okay, well, I don't particularly have a preference with respect to whether it's a 2-year term or whether we split it up. It might be nice to have that continuity with one person having a 2-year term. That might be of benefit, but of course, Chair Leak might have a thought about how long he would be able to serve.
I can do 2 years, that's fine. Because again, you all only meet once a year, correct?
Right.
And of course, okay, all right, okay.
Can I make that motion now?
Sure.
All right, well, I move that the commission nominate Chair Leak to serve as an ex officio member of the commission.
For 2 years?
For a 2-year term, yes.
I second that.
And so now, Chair Leak, even though I know you're the one nominated and it's awkward, we need to do a roll call vote. So would you like to call for a roll call vote?
Okay, let me allow, since I'm the one been nominated, if it's in order, I'm gonna let Vice Chair Thompson do it.
That is certainly appropriate.
Okay, roll call vote then. Commissioner Haynes?
Aye.
Commissioner Leak?
Aye.
Or Chair Leak, sorry. Let's see, Commissioner Price?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Wiggins?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Did I miss anyone? Miss anyone? No. Is that all the commissioners present?
Yes.
I think so.
All right.
And while we have you, I want to bring up one thing. Number one, I want to say that we appreciate all the work that your committee is doing, and it's very valuable for our community. So just want to pass that along, even from our whole commission. They were very excited for us to reach out to you. So thank you for all you're doing. Another aspect that they talked about at the retreat is we are setting up another little committee in ours, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And we may be coming back to you to maybe get some feedback, to get some assistance, or maybe even some more just communication, to talking together. So the more people who talk, I think the better we'll be. And so just kind of putting that out there, that they really are trying to widen our net. Even though it seems like it's not wide, we try, but the more we can widen it, the better we're going to be as a community. So we're looking forward to working more with you. So thank you again for today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Michelle, yes, this is the Human Relations Commission, and they do have committees, and they've had a couple of ad hoc subcommittees as well. And so certainly this is a sister board to your Historic Resources Commission. And so it is exciting to know that the two commissions can have this connection. And of course, you and I, we've touched bases over the years on all kinds of things. So that will certainly continue. But just know that anytime that you or Heather need anything from me or my staff, feel free to let us know. Brittany Pitts is on today. And of course, she is our DEI person, our lead person in DEI. So even though her focus is internal, she may be another resource for you as well. So just wanted you to know that we're here and we're happy to work with you.
You guys have awesome staff. So
Wanda, I just want to thank you for being, you got back to me so quickly when I got in touch, and were so receptive to us coming and talking, and thank you for that.
Heather, anytime, you are more than welcome.
And
all right.
Thank you, Chair Leak, for representing the Human Relations Commission on the Historic Resources Commission.
Thank you.
Yes, and I will, Michelle and I will be in touch with you, Mr. Leak, about when we're going to have meetings and sort of getting you a little more up to speed. Thank you very much. I think we're ready to dip out.
Have fun on your retreat and good weekend.
Thank you again.
Thanks so much.
Bye. Okay, commissioners. We're 10 minutes past when you were supposed to have your lunch break. So is everybody still okay with coming back at 1, or do you want to push it out?
I need to push it out.
You need to push it out? Okay,
Yeah.
when do you how far out would you like to push it? Because I'll need to let the next group know that, because we have our Assistant City Attorney and Jean Troy coming up this afternoon.
Well, we're 10 minutes, what, 10 to 15 minutes behind? Is that correct?
10.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add 10 more minutes to the time.
Okay. Okay, so we'll reconvene on camera at 1:10 p.m.
That sounds great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.
See you soon.